Welcome to the Lifestyle Overland channel, where we're usually traveling about the country as a family. But in this series, I've left the family behind with our new baby and have instead teamed up with friends Caleb and Matt to explore one of my favorite places in the world, Utah. Well, we're doing our best to explore anyhow. Record-breaking snow has left most of this landscape covered in snow, and the few places that aren't knee-deep have begun to thaw sporadically and in dramatic fashion. So far, we've made 2 big relocation jumps during this adventure in an attempt to find passable routes, and almost didn't make it back out of one of these when the area we had just started exploring began to thaw right out from under us. We all had a bit of a pucker moment on a warm, south-facing hillside that went from frozen dirt to slick grease in just a few yards, threatening to send us slipping over the edge. After clearing the hill, we quickly pulled the plug in interest of reducing our impact on the roads and headed straight for pavement as conditions continued to degrade rapidly under the sun. Thankfully, our third relocation attempt seems to have landed us in a beautiful area with trails that are far more stable and suitable for travel. And so, we pick up where we left off last week, camped in a box canyon at the foot of a uranium mine. Morning.
Morning.
Couldn't time that more perfectly.
Talent this good, it's just hard to find.
So, what are we cooking up for breakfast?
This morning is breakfast hash browns with Whataburger pork sausage.
What?
Yes, sir.
What a burger. That's gonna feed an army right there.
What a burger. Hope you boys are hungry. I won't be stingy here.
The whole back, I think there's plenty. Mixed it.
Awesome, Matt.
It's perfect cold weather.
Alright, so I've been using the Blue Eddy to power Starlink overnight. I found that trying to run both the diesel heater and Starlink off of my onboard dual battery system, which is still AGM, it's not enough juice during the night. So, split the duties up, got the diesel running off of the aux system and running Starlink off of this. And then one night of use is roughly about half of the capacity of this guy right here with Starlink. So it's done a pretty good job. And then I'll show you where I've been charging it during the day as we're going down the trail. It's a little bit cumbersome because they give you like a mile of cable, which I appreciate when I actually need it. We're often asked how we like Starlink for staying connected while on the trail. Truthfully, I prefer to come out here to disconnect from it all. But with the family at home and a new baby, it's been good to be able to check in without the delay that satellite texting devices can struggle with, or the obscene monthly bill for carrying a sat phone. We recently heard that Starlink has disabled the portability function for new customers without upgrading to the more expensive RV plan. But thankfully, we're currently grandfathered in, so at $135 a month, it's been an incredibly reliable method for keeping in touch, uploading short videos, and even watching an Office episode before bed. And while there are some companies out there offering mod services to make this a flat panel for roof rack mounting, this stock configuration has been fine for us, and it goes inside a Condition 1 case with room for our down blankets that double as additional padding. But is it worth the $600 hardware and monthly fee to have broadband in the wilderness? Well, that's purely up to your use case, but in our opinion, it's been very nice to have when connectivity is a must for work or family. But honestly, a satellite texting and SOS device will probably meet the needs of most people.
So I have a 1000 watt inverter underneath this seat, controlled by a switch here in the glove box. So I've got the charger here, and then one thing I've found is that if this is not turned on, it will not charge. Found that out the hard way yesterday. Now it's still in an error 021 code, which means low temperature. So I've got to start up the rig, heat this up before it'll start charging. So there's a whole process involved of keeping this up on the trail.
Looks like they had felt paper on the inside to have to weatherproof.
Make it a little warmer while you're doing business.
We couldn't just roll out of this mining area without a quick look around, and while the main cabin seems to have disappeared under the snow, there were remnants of an outhouse nearby with a pertinent warning for those who may dare to enter.
See the
Danger gas.
sense of humor hasn't changed much for us guys, has it?
Somebody had a sense of humor.
Up on the hillside, we found the entrance to the uranium mine, which has been thoroughly concreted shut, since apparently the 1/4-inch plate door wasn't enough to stop folks from risking life and limb to explore its depths.
Oh wow, concreted is solid.
Yep. With a
seal.
Like I mentioned in last week's episode, these locations are indeed radioactive, but the alpha waves are easily blocked by the human skin. Unfortunately, miners from this era weren't aware of the damage the dust could do when breathed in, and many lost their lives to lung cancer years later. That being said, it's okay to visit uranium mines like this, but you probably don't want to disturb the tailings or stick around in a dust storm.
That's crazy. Part of that collection. So, what you got there?
Stick
A stick? Where'd you find that?
in my air box. Don't think it's supposed to go there.
Is this why you've now turned it?
Yeah,
into
that's now what. That's why
reverse
we're
mode?
backwards.
Okay, so this was broken beforehand, huh?
Yeah.
Or is that the stick that broke it?
No, this was beforehand, I think.
Oh, okay.
So it caught another stick.
Oh.
Firewood.
You just never know, do you?
Never know. Check your stuff.
Good thing your filter caught it.
Uh huh. Yeah.
No. We'd have to rename her Beaver.
Betty the Beaver.
Betty the Beaver. All right, well, good morning, folks. Glorious, beautiful. Oh, that's too bright. Glorious, sunshiny day here in central Utah. We finally got out of the mud for the most part. The rest of it has either been dusty, which is crazy, or snow. Right now, we're in the snow, and we are headed a little further south, trying to dig into some of these routes that I like to lay in bed and plan and dream about one day, and then I just pull one out of my little wish list whenever I'm in the area and go dig into it. So far, this has been a really fun route. Tons and tons of uranium mines, which, I don't know, it's just cool. All the artifacts and stuff like that, looking at how these folks used to live out here in what used to be even more so the middle of nowhere, to eke out a living, to peck it out of the side of these mountains. And very, very, very few of them were ever successful digging out the uranium. But wow, we are absolutely striking it rich on this run. This has been fun. I've run with Caleb before, knew he was a great guy, had a blast with him on every trip that we've ever been on. And then he brought in Matt, his friend, who is just equally as awesome. And we've had a blast, even off camera, just hanging around the campfire, sometimes a little bit too late, talking about life and stuff. And it's trips like this that we all need from time to time. I love going solo. I love going with the family. Sometimes you just need a core group of guys or ladies or friends that are just like, yeah, Let's go hang out, contemplate life, talk about deep things, and maybe learn something. Feel encouraged, be strengthened. It's good stuff. Just a few miles from camp, we topped a ridgeline, and it was as if we had teleported to an entirely new region, or as if someone had flipped a switch. Before us was what we had been searching for: dry, gorgeous Utah landscape. But that's Utah for you. If you don't like the terrain, just drive 5 more miles, and it will change into something entirely different. A few miles after crossing into this wonderland of canyons and brilliantly colored rock, we took a side trail and stumbled upon another spectacular time capsule from the uranium mining frenzy of the 50s and 60s. This particular series of mines was one of the very few successful prospects in this area, and it is still listed as an active mine, though it's been decades since the radioactive yellow ore has been pulled from the shafts dotting the surrounding cliff faces. Even had wallpaper. It is surreal to walk through these structures and try to envision what life would have been like for the miners who lived, worked, and rested here. Apparently, this mining camp was a special place, since it boasted cable TV, dropped down from the cliff above with a single channel, providing entertainment after a long day's work in the mines. Not a few yards from the shacks, an abandoned car sat in the dry wash, having taken its punishment from flash floods and armed vandals for over 60 years. Surprisingly, these antique vehicles are a common sight in this remote area, as it was apparently cheaper to leave them behind than it was to have them towed to civilization.
Mountain Dew!
At any rate, they help paint a picture of what life was like in these canyons, and it makes me wonder what it would have been like back then to cruise these trails in a 4-wheeled boat instead of our current rigs. Maybe that's why they're still here. Well, we had almost given up on finding dry, dusty trails here in Utah, but we finally found one little stretch that has been pleasurable to drive. No snow to fight, no mud to slog through, just surrounded by gorgeousness. This is like another world. If you've never been here, it's one thing to see it on video, but when you're here in person, oh my goodness. Simply incredible. Just look at it. And it's different. It's different around every corner. There's some sort of new formation. There's some sort of new color. I love this place. I love it.
I don't like off camber like that.
It's you pucker. And you're my safety measure. I probably won't go over if you go over.
That's so comforting. Thanks, Kevin.
A squeeze for Matt.
Think skinny thoughts, Matt.
Can you imagine working here all day long in and out, knowing that
Dealing with dynamite.
that's all hanging over your head while you're blasting?
Or you're in there, but this all falls and caves you in.
You can smell it. All the little kicking up we've done.
Yeah. Getting our daily dose of uranium.
With the sun setting on an exceptionally beautiful day, it was time to find camp. And wow, did we ever hit the jackpot on this spot, complete with colorful canyon walls and a babbling river.
I think we found camp, boys.
All right. That sounds mighty peaceful.
There's the sign track for the night.
That will do, pig. That will do.
Oh,
Looks like sherbet.
What the heck is that?
I don't know. It's sandstone.
Is it?
It just cuts.
oh, yeah. Crazy.
Stuff my face with jalapeno cheese.
Yeah, it's definitely.
No audio.
While we've been taking turns cooking meals on this trip, tonight was fend for yourself night. But unlike Caleb and Matt, I wasn't carrying an emergency ration of steak. I know, quite an unacceptable oversight in my book. But thankfully, Caleb took pity on me as I stood downwind filming, and offered up a tasty New York strip.
Kevin,
Yeah.
there's a steak with some potatoes.
Well,
Yeah.
I can do that. Thank you, sir.
Welcome.
And that, my friends, is the sign of true friendship. For there is no greater act of kindness than sharing a steak. Or at least, I think that's how that goes.
Good living, boys.
Cheers.
Uh-huh. It's a good day.
There's nothing better than unexpected steak.
I don't think Kevin's going to complain about it being slightly overcooked. It's good steak, so it takes it with grace.
The next morning, I was up early to hit the trail and get back to the girls. Sarah had called at 2:30 a.m. with a squalling baby in the background and clearly needed some backup and a good night's sleep. So it was time to say goodbye to the boys and point Silver to the barn. Of course, I couldn't send these fine fellows off without some fresh merch and thanks for an epic trip, great company, and that spare steak. It had definitely been a bit of a grind when it came to finding good ground to travel, but we had ended the journey on a high note with dry, solid trails in this land of awe and beauty. But it was clear to us after this trip that Utah was going to be a mess for a while as the spring began to thaw out record snows. even here in the desert. And so join us next time as we fly further south to give this region a break as it recovers and explore yet another one of our favorite places in the Southwest. If you haven't already, I'd appreciate it if you would hit that subscribe button so you don't miss the next adventure. Thanks again for riding along, and as always, remember to stay curious and leave it better than you found.
They do that out in Death Valley at the springs.
Whoever Mr. Jiffy was a genius. Anybody like smoke flavor popcorn? I'm quite the professional popcorn maker.
I am. Connoisseur.
Can't even make Jiffy popcorn.
Hold my beer.
He made Jiffy Pop. I mean, that's
The lava rocks are throwing me off. Yeah.
that's only slightly more complicated than microwave popcorn.
There's a difference. I think they underloaded the gun.
It normally goes much bigger to that.
Yeah.
Package burnt. The popcorn didn't pop.
Golly.
And there was
I think it's edible though. Extra buttery. Don't eat it where the fire hit it though. Gosh. Well, that was a dud.
Well. E for effort, man. E for effort.
E for effort. No, it's not great.
It's not.
No, not even edible.
Are you sure that was a dub?
Gross.
Oh well.
Dang it.